Hello and welcome to Merciful Love. My name is Mercy, and in our journey to inner healing, there's some things that I've learned, and they have helped me along the way. And one of these things is the tricks that abusers use to shut you up as a way of protecting themselves, and at the same time it creates more wounds upon the victim. And since we know that we cannot heal other people, we cannot teach other people to behave, we cannot teach other people to be decent, we cannot make other people be human, be loving, we cannot think for other people or change other people. Yeah, that is the common factor. You cannot change other people, but you can change yourself, right? So one of the things that I would like us to look at is being shamed. That is one trick that abusers use all so often. They will try and shame you for saying anything, for having a certain body, for thinking differently, for having some things and for not having some things. Yeah? But you see, once you know yourself and once you know your purpose and why you are here, you shouldn't feel ashamed about these things. I know it is not easy, but to me, what shame means, it means me taking upon another person's opinion. And when I fall short of that person's opinion, now I feel shame and inadequate. So how do you stop feeling like that? How you stop feeling like that is knowing who you are and living up to your fullest potential. Everybody was put here for a purpose, and you have been equipped with everything that you need to fulfill your life's purpose. The reason why these abusers use this method of shaming other people is them projecting the insecurities upon another person. And you being sometimes weak, you take that insecurity and you place it on yourself. I'll give you an example. For example, someone decided, it's not even an example, it's reality. Someone decided a certain body type is the perfect body type. But in real sense, all body types play a purpose. All body sizes, they have a purpose that they can achieve. All of us cannot be thin, or all of us cannot be thick, because your life's purpose and your life's journey is very different from the other person's. And secondly, your body does not define who you are as a person, because first you need to understand, who are you? Are you your body? If you are your body, why is it when somebody dies, they say that is the body of so and so? For example, if I die, they will say that is Mercy's body. So if I am not my body, then who am I? And if you are not your body, how so then are you your clothes? Are you your clothes? Because there are people who will shame other people because of the way they dress. So if I am not my body, so how can you, which is the closest thing to me, then how can you use clothes to shame me if I am not my body? You can try to use my body, but the moment a person dies, the first thing they say is, that is Mercy's body. That is not Mercy. So it means if I am not my body, right? So if I am not my body, how can I be my clothes? How can I be my car? How can I be the area that I live? How can I be all these material things? And you have the courage to judge someone because of how they dress, of the type of body they are, of not having a car. So for you who has a car and you are shaming other people, are you your car? When people see your car, do they say that is Mercy or that is Mercy's car? Mercy's house or that house is Mercy. So is there any right at all to shame other people because of things that they have or things that they do not have? So we need to separate ourselves from these material things that make us feel less of ourselves and basing this opinion on someone else. For example, the society maybe has decided that it is important that, like, it's a mark of success for someone to have maybe a car. But when you question yourself, when you search yourself, do you really need a car? The society will tell you you have to go to the gym. If it's not for health purposes, if it's just to look good, then if that is not what you want, are you being true to yourself? Why are you going to that gym? To please for yourself or for other people? Is your body hurting you? Is your stomach hurting you? We need to know why we do the things that we do, not just to follow things because other people are telling us to follow them. You have to listen to yourself. You have to know what you really want. Because the moment you do not know what you want, that is when you will follow other people's opinion. Oh, you are going out. You do not take alcohol. But then again, because somebody is now shaming you for not taking alcohol. I've seen people shaming other people because they do not take alcohol. And no is a complete sentence. But how many people have taken alcohol because of peer pressure? Don't you have your own opinions? I just do not like alcohol. I've been there. I have taken alcohol, not because I like alcohol, but because of the friends that I had at that time. And I did not have the confidence to say no, and also wanted to fit in with them. But I can tell you, like, my experience with alcohol is, first of all, the courage I needed to take that first sip because of the bitterness, you know. The alcohol has a certain taste. It is not like sweet. I have a sweet tooth. But now I was just taking that first sip. I really needed to take courage from the bottom of my heart, like, so that I can take that first sip, because it is not pleasant. It was never pleasant. I've never tasted any alcohol that had a pleasant taste. And after that, after now struggling with it the whole night or whatever time, the following day, the suffering I'll have to go through, the hangover, the vomiting, like, why am I doing this? Why am I poisoning myself? Why am I doing this to myself, you know? And one day I decided, no, I'm not going to take this thing anymore, because I'm literally poisoning myself to please people. And if they just don't want me in their circle, well and good, because I'm not going to take this thing again. So the things that you do you do them because you want to do them or just out of peer pressure? Why do we victim shame? Someone was abused in a family setup, but no, don't talk about it, because you're going to shame the family. What shame? Whatever happened. Whether we talk about it or not, it happened. But when we talk about it, we will be able to see where the problem is and we will be able to sort it. But shame suppresses justice. You will not get justice if you are ashamed of speaking about any kind of abuse that you went through. And that is one thing that the abuser will use. They will tell you, look at your family. You're going to shame your family name. Are you your family? You are part of your family, but you are not your family. How many people survive out here without their families, but they have been able to create families out of people they have met? If you are not your body, let's be honest, if you are not your body, then how can you be your family? What are you protecting? Because whatever has happened has happened. Whether you talk about it or not, it has happened. It does not change the fact that it has happened. And when you try to protect the abuser because you're going to shame maybe the family or the unit or whatever it is, you're not helping anyone. And you shouldn't be ashamed. Whatever happened to you was not your fault. And when you feel ashamed, you're protecting the person who is doing these things. And if they stop doing them to you, they will do it to another person. But when the moment you speak up about it, at least other people will be aware, and you're going to protect also other people. Do not be ashamed into silence when you're being abused. Do not. We need to start speaking up. We need to start. Be shameless. Be shameless. If somebody tries to shame you because of your body, just rock it. Because they've never created a human being. They do not know how God creates people, because God has the capacity to make all of us the same. Look at the zebras. It is hard for us human beings to tell the difference between one zebra and another. If God wanted us, all of us the same, He would have created all of us the same. If God wanted us to think the same, then He would only need one human being. Why does He need different human beings? If God wanted us to live equally, then He would have done it. But what I know is that every person, regardless of their body, regardless of how they think, regardless of their religion, regardless of their location, regardless of their color, everybody has a purpose. And you cannot change whatever you can only be second best. When you try to be like other people, the best you can be is second best, because already that person exists. If you try to be like so and so, you are capping yourself, you are limiting yourself. Because so and so is already there. That means the best you can be is just below them or just like them. But you have the capacity to be way better than anyone else. But you have the only way you can do this is when you are yourself. Don't copy other people. If God wanted a copy, He would have created a copy. Be yourself. Who are you? People can be used as a compass, but not to imitate. You cannot just copy someone 100%. Because when you copy someone, that means you're ashamed of being yourself. What are you ashamed of? What are you ashamed of? Did God make a mistake to create you? Did God decide that one is better and you are not good enough? Does God make mistakes? Can you be able to live your life authentically as yourself, the way God intended you to be? Because if you keep copying, if you keep being ashamed, then you will die a copy. And what value will you have added when you are not yourself? Because you can only add value when you live your purpose. And you can only live your purpose when you are yourself. Be shameless. And that is the one thing that people used to try and intimidate other people and make them feel small and make them feel useless and make them feel insignificant. That is the weapon of the evil, of the enemy. That's a weapon. And you have to say no to this weapon, because we cannot change them. We cannot change them and ask them to stop using this thing. So it is for us to stand up and be shameless. Be shameless and be yourself. There's nothing to be ashamed about being you. Talk about your issues. If something is hurting you, don't be ashamed. It is hurting you. Whether you talk about it or not, whether they'll shame you about it or not, but the fact remains, it is hurting you. So, we need to encourage each other to live a shameless life. This is the reason why people are committing suicide, because they are ashamed to discuss their problems, because they'll be shamed. They're ashamed of the situation. You don't need to be ashamed of the situation. You're not the first person that has never had rent. You're not the first person who does not have a meal. If you do not have a meal, you just speak up. What are you protecting? If you die now, in 3 years nobody will remember. Very few people will remember you. Maybe very close family, friends. But if you are hungry, you are hungry. If you need help with food, you go ask for help with food. If somebody hurt you and you want to talk about it, go talk about it. Because the fact remains, whether you talk about it or not, it happened and you felt the way you felt. So just share your feelings. It is not, you are not strong when you hide your feelings. You are not strong when you are ashamed. Like, how does it even work? Oh, I'm strong, but in real sense, you're not strong, you're just ashamed of your situation. But these situations are there. Other people are going through the same. The difference between you and someone who will succumb to this situation is someone who speaks up. They say, a problem shared is a problem solved. You're not the first person who has never had a house. But you can speak up and say, I need help, I need shelter. How many people are homeless, but they would rather not go to shelter homes? How many people have died of hunger because they do not have the courage to go and ask someone for help with food? Be shameless. How many people have been abused, but then again they develop medical conditions because they did not want to talk about it? How many people have committed suicide because they did not want to share their situation with other people? How many people have committed suicide because they lost money? You're not the first person to lose money. People get conned. Conmen will be there. And since we cannot change them and make them to be decent human beings, it is for us to speak up and say, I was conned. There is no shame in having life experiences. It is just an experience. Don't try to define it as a shameful experience. It is just an experience. Please, just be shameless. Speak up. Whatever is bothering you, speak up. Speak up. You will feel there's nothing. It's only shameful when you think of it as shameful. A lot of things the society has defined as shameful, but when you really, really look at it, they aren't. A teenage girl gets pregnant. Oh, the society has decided it is shameful, but who gives kids? Who gives souls to people? So you mean God? Is that child a child of Satan? Is that an evil child? No. Everybody that is created by God. So how are you shaming that person? How many people are having sex, but at the end of the day, it is the teenage girl who gets pregnant? How many couples are struggling with fertility issues, but it's the teenage girl who gets pregnant? Why did we decide that is shameful? Don't all things come from God? Everything comes from God. Every experience comes from God. We do not choose our experiences. Life happens. What matters is how we respond to it. And one of the things that I will advocate for is to be shameless. It's not to be ashamed of our life's experience. Oh, you are in a terrible marriage, but now you cannot leave the marriage because it is shameful. So you'd rather suffer and die in that union than disregard that feeling of shame and move to safety. There is no shame in feeling how you feel. There is no shame in sharing how you feel. There is no shame in living your truth. People will talk, people will say a lot of different things, but It's time for us to change. We don't have to listen to the voice of the enemy, because that is one word that the enemy uses to suppress us. I don't know what you think. I don't know what you think. And this is just my thoughts. And if you have something you can add or you can input, please share. Because we are all here to learn. We are all here to help each other. We must help each other. We must help each other. We must help each other. Even if we cannot, if that is the last thing we do, we must help each other. Abusers, we cannot sit back and expect other people to change until we change. Change begins with us. We have to change now. We have to start the change ourselves. We have to change ourselves. And slowly by slowly, the whole society will change. One person at a time. Okay. All the best. And see you in the next episode.